gonna give you awareness around everything that's possible and how to structure deals and sales and negotiations and how to go out and find these opportunities. All right, guys, so day one, we're gonna focus on exit strategies. All that exit strategy means, it's a fancy term for different ways that you can make money with a deal, right? Underwriting, just how to analyze these deals. We're gonna look at actual live deals that we've closed on. We're gonna dive into sales and negotiations, rules for comparables, and Q&A. Tomorrow, my other half in business, Kevin, is gonna be taking over, how to get your first deal or your next deal. What are free ways that we can start to get deals, paid ways that we can get deals, systems and processes, funding, and Q&A. All right, so let's get the party started. So exit strategy. So the first one I'm gonna go over is wholesaling. So wholesaling, the ideal seller for this type of deal is someone that's in distress, has tenant issues, inherited a property, a vacant home, there's violation issues. There has to be a distress for someone to sell us their house for way under what it's worth. So the first step is finding that seller that needs your cash offer because they're distressed. You get really ninja at negotiating, which is what I teach you guys. You get a property under contract at a really discounted price, and then you find another investor and you assign that contract to that investor. Now you make the difference in the middle. The benefit of wholesaling is that it's really scalable because you don't need to put your own money into the deals. So you could do as many transactions as you want because it doesn't require your capital. So what do you have to get good at? Finding distressed sellers, negotiating, getting properties under contract, and then building your list of buyers. That's all you need to make this business work. This one in particular was a deal in Miami that we did. He was out of state. We got this property under contract for $375. We found a buyer that was willing to buy it for $420. So the total wholesale fee was $45,000. Let's look at the interior. Property's in disrepair, messy, all over the place. This is the perfect property for what we're trying to do. This is what the investor ended up doing with the property. Here you go. That's what your after looks like. So one way that you can close on these cash offer deals is wholesaling. The other way is you can actually double close, meaning you actually close on the deal. You own the property like 30 minutes, maybe sometimes even seconds. And then that same day, your end buyer is going to come in and close on that property. So this deal, we got it under contract for $150. We assigned it for $205. The wholesale fee was $50,000 and we partnered 50-50. He had already started working with us, learning from us, and was like, hey, could this be an opportunity for that thing, Kevin, that you told me? So this is what the property looked like. This was his first wholesale deal.
And the whole point here, guys, is this came over a conversation, networking over breakfast, and just explaining to him what these concepts are. Now that you guys are being introduced to this, other agents, when you can understand that this world exists, then it's, hey, I think I have one of those type of deals you were telling me about. And that's how these opportunities attract in having these conversations.
Yeah. So this was actually all about network. All right, let's go over listing, because a lot of you guys are licensed. If you're not licensed, there's listing opportunities out there and you can build referral partners and refer it out to agents in your network. So if they don't want the cash offer, then we're just going to go ahead and list it. So that's listings. And then we get into novation. Novation is a partnership with the seller. You tell the seller you're going to give him this much. You are paying for commissions, closing costs, and potential repairs. And then you're listing the property and selling it at a higher price. The difference between novations and wholesaling is with novations, you're going on the market and you're listing the property. It has to be a seller that's flexible with time, negotiable on price, and they're looking for convenience. Meaning, if the seller needs to close in 30 days, novation's not going to work. So when we're listing a property on a novation, we're looking at as-is value, not ARV. ARV means after repair value. There's two ways to do novations, and we've done both. You can partner with the seller, put it on the market, maybe do minor cleanup, take some really nice pictures, and do your repairs on the property after inspections and appraisals. We have also done where we partner with the seller, we put the money up front to fix up the property, and then we list it. Both are options, right? With the second option, where you're actually putting your money and risking it, there's a higher level of risk. The first option is less hassle, less risk, and you're spending less money. Now, with an novation, you can sell it to a finance buyer or you could sell it to a cash buyer. You're getting access to the MLS. So with a finance buyer, this is a deal that we did in Orlando. We actually came in and listed the property. All right, now let's get into creative financing. Creative financing is an umbrella term. There's a lot of things that you could do with creative financing. There's acquisition strategies, meaning you can acquire a property using creative financing. And you can also sell a property using creative financing. So creative financing is amazing. So subject to seller finance, hybrid sub to seller finance, and lease options. So subject to is essentially, you're buying a house, taking over the deed. Now you're the owner. The title is transferred to you. The seller's not the owner anymore. The seller's name does remain on the mortgage. So you're buying a property and keeping the mortgage in place. So seller finance, for seller finance to work, the property has to be paid off. This is great for your tired landlords that have owned properties for multiple years, but they're tired of dealing with the tenants and the property's fully paid off. So here you're negotiating and agreeing to the price, the monthly payment, the terms, you're purchasing the home, and then you're taking title. So the benefits of seller finance is that you can build a portfolio and you can negotiate really great terms. You can buy a property with 1.2 interest rate, very little down payment. You can get really creative with these deals and get some really solid opportunities. There's a thing called a lease option. Now we're getting crazy with it. It's a sandwich lease option, meaning I have a lease option with Jesse. No, Jesse has a lease option with me. I'm the owner. So Jesse's coming to me and telling me, I want to rent this property with the option to buy it in 5 years. Now Jesse has this lease option agreement. He's going to Corrado and he's telling Corrado, hey Corrado, do you want to rent this property from me with the option to buy it in 5 years? Now Jesse's in the middle, right? He's not the owner of the property, but he has control of the initial agreement. So now he can ask Corrado for more money on the rent and he's creating cash flow. He can ask Corrado for a higher purchase price in 5 years. So now Jesse, even though he doesn't own the property, is making money in the future with Corrado if Corrado executes, and he's making monthly cash flow. So it's a great way without really having the ownership on the property for you to also start making money. Wraps is another strategy. Once you have an existing loan, you're creating a loan that's on top of that loan. My initial loan is $1,000 a month for $200. You're creating another mortgage and providing your end buyer with the financing. So if Jesse has a property that he owns that has a loan for $200,000 and he's paying $1,000 a month, Corrado's gonna come in and Jesse's gonna offer him a loan for $300,000, paying $2,000 a month, and he's creating what's called a wrap. So the benefit of a wrap, very similar to a lease option, is cash flow. You can sell at a higher price, so you have a future upside of making money, and you can collect a down payment, right? So you're making money on the down payment. The risk is the person defaulting on the payment, right? If Corrado defaults on the payment, you're gonna have to go through a foreclosure. Texas has very particular laws with regards to lease options, wraps, and there are regulations that you have to follow if you're doing any type of financing. So you do have to go through the proper due diligence and actually qualify your buyer, keep proper documentation. You can't go out offering a bunch of loans to people. You have to be mindful of Dodd-Frank and all the regulations around seller financing. So as long as you're doing things the proper way, you should be fine. All right, seller finance, 0% interest rate. This is a property that we own personally. We got it from a Facebook ad. The purchase price to the seller was $210,000, but we bought it in a seller finance. We gave a down payment of $30,000. The term on the loan is 10 years. We pay the seller $800. We have it rented for $2,100, so our cash flow is around $700 a month. We bought it virtually, guys. We never saw this property. We did do an inspection. If it's a property that you're going to actually own yourself, just going and taking pictures, isn't enough. We actually had a proper home inspection. We went through the proper due diligence on this property. But here we had price that we negotiated, interest rate that we negotiated, down payment that we negotiated, time that we negotiated, and the monthly payment to the seller. This $800 is all principal. Obviously, we pay taxes, we pay insurance, so that's why the cash flow is $700. And we actually have a private money lender for this $30,000. So we didn't bring any of our own money to closing. So again, when you hear people saying, "Oh, I bought a property with zero money down," this is that type of deal.
Long-term rentals. This is the most common one. You can fix to flip to keep, especially if you got it at a good discount deal with these strategies we're talking about, going direct to seller, picking up deals. If you pick up a good property, there is lenders who will refinance you at the new after repair value, right? And they'll give you up to 75 to 80% of the new value of the property. If you've bought it deep enough, you can potentially get all your money back. And that's the BRRRR strategy, right? Buy, renovate, repair, refinance it, and then repeat, do it over again. There is sometimes people who buy for long-term rent for appreciation, knowing that in a few years they can sell it and it's going to be worth a lot of money. So they just care that the property pays for itself. And the other reason that people are interested in long-term rentals is for tax breaks. They have to pay Uncle Sam a big number. They don't want to. They meet with their accountants. Tax strategy is buy a property, do a cost segregation study, use that depreciation to offset your taxes. For example, I just did did one on a property, cost me $900 to do the cost segregation with the company, and I saved $10,000 of IRS taxes with Uncle Sam. That instead of giving it to them, I use that money to buy a property. You can tag team with CPAs, because every year I got to pay Uncle Sam, meaning every year I'm looking for more and more and more property to offset, because I rather pay myself in investing in a property than give it to Uncle Sam, right? Building wealth, saving taxes legally. So long-term rentals has those three positives. Cons, you got to fix the toilets, you got to change the ACs, you got to fix the leaky roofs, you got to deal with tenants that sometimes don't pay, you got to deal with vacancy factor. So one tenant moves out, you got to paint it, clean it up, fix it. So you got to know how to run your numbers to factor in the capital expenditures of the fixes so that it's still a profitable deal and it works for your plan, whatever your exit strategy is. Now, short-term to mid-term, we right now have about 16 to 18 properties managed under short-term. So we're very familiar with the Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, Expedia game. We have a manager on site that handles all that for us. We have weekly huddles with them. And this tends to be more profitable on the cash flow side, right? Basically a hotel business, customer service. You got to worry about reviews. You got to give 5-star service so that they keep coming back and they leave positive reviews so other people find your property online and want to rent it and come through. Got to have the fresh towels. You got to have the soaps and all that good stuff. It has to smell good when you walk in there. Whenever something breaks, you got to run out and hurry up and fix it, because if I'm here for the weekend and your AC's broken, unlike a long-term tenant who might wait a day or two for you to fix it and get your guy over there and order the part, if you got to order a part and it's not coming till Monday in South Florida at 90-something degree weather, guess what I have to do? Cancel the listing, refund them, put them up in a hotel, or at least give them their money back and they go do what they got to do to avoid a bad review. Doesn't happen often, but definitely happens, especially when you have multiple short-term rentals. And in that case, the numbers have to be great enough for you to factor in all these things at the end of the year. Sure, I had to mission, I had to pay this, I have my management team, my cleaning service team, my contractors that charge me more because they drop everything to run over there and fix a problem within 24 hours. But I made $4,500 versus $1,600 in long-term rent. So it compensates, right? There's a return on investment for it. So in midterm, it's a little bit different, right? You have your traveling nurses. They want to rent for 2-3 months while they're there. There's not that turnover, but you still got to provide a good working property. There's a bunch of websites out there for midterm tenants, flight attendants that, work a certain route. They like to get midterm rentals so that they have a place to stay. They're tired of the hotel life, etc. So that's also a potential to make a little bit more cash flow. Usually they want them furnished, etc.
Now, the next part of the process is the offer script. The offer script is very simple, very short. I spoke with my partners. The property qualifies for an offer. I wanted to go over that with you and what the process and the numbers look like. You're just giving them a quick overview of what the process looks like. Hey, we're going to send it to the title company. We're going to do a walkthrough, yada, yada, yada. And then you're giving them the price.
I will tell you guys, if you feel not confident yet as you role play and you get comfortable with these, getting in front of them in their living room, them investing an hour, hour and a half with you, walking the property and answering these questions, sometimes just your normal personality will help when you're not exactly asking the framework perfect until you get comfortable with it.
Keys to negotiating is you shut up and wait for them to receive the information. A little tip to negotiating is never give them round numbers. Always give them a number that's like 401, 230, because then it feels like a real number that was studied and analyzed versus round numbers feel made up. That's the main script that I want you guys to do. And then we have scripts around agents. We have scripts around direct investors if you want to go. So there's subject to scripts, there's seller finance script. I have everything here for you guys. The novation script as well. I do have, for those of you that are doing direct offer offers to agents on the MLS, because we do both, right? You could go direct to seller, you could go direct to agent, or you could get deals from wholesaler. So we have scripts for every single thing that you do. So let's open it up for questions. We just know that for any conversation, we have a script for it.
Any questions? Anybody got anything for us? If
More
not, I'll
money,
start
Kev.
reviewing the ones.
Mark Money Kev, talk to me here. I'm having tremendous success with motivatedSellers.com, but it's not bringing me enough leads. Talk to me, next step.
Okay, so in Motivated Sellers, guys, you'll find an interview that I did with them 2 weeks ago. Watch it. They're a pay-per-lead provider. There's about 2 or 3 out there that I have a training on that I sign off on as credible, good. We've closed deals from them before. If you want to start practicing these scripts and trying to get deals like tomorrow, you're either gonna get on the phone and start cold calling, or if you want them to raise their hand and say, no, I want an offer, so that they're more warm, that's called inbound.
Raise your hand, guys, if you have questions. That way we make sure we take care of your questions and you guys don't feel like you left out with questions.
I was just curious. I didn't hear part of what you were saying about novations. So you said agents can't do the novations themselves?
Don't list it yourself, no, because your name is on the purchase agreement and you're also listing it. There's a conflict of interest there. So I would get either a friend that you know or a flat fee to list it for you.
I had this other question too. So like, let's say there's a property that's a good for a subject to, but they have an FHA loan. Now, would that still be qualified for a subject to?
That's a great question. So there's a difference between assuming a mortgage, where then you have to go through the qualifying process to assume it. And then obviously if you're an investor and it's a primary residence loan, they may not approve that obviously, or offer you new terms, and you're not going to be able to assume that FHA loan at a 2.7 rate that they got 6 years ago. But as a subject to, there is a level of risk. This is why some people are not comfortable doing certain subject to deals, and we can get deeper into that conversation as the weeks go by. But you're assuming the mortgage, so the mortgage is staying in place with the terms and is still staying in the name of the original borrower, which 9 out of 10 times is the seller, and you are taking over title, which 9 out of 10 times you're usually taking it over in a trust. The only term is you're buying that property subject to the mortgage staying in place under the person's name.